It's been 1 year since Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. And as you can see, Kyiv, like much of the country, is still standing. But the conflict has taken a huge toll on Ukraine, with consequences felt well beyond its borders. This is a story of 1 year of war. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. We're here in the streets of Kyiv. You can probably hear there are bomb sirens going off. This morning, a couple hours ago, Russia began its war on Ukraine. The invasion came after months of warning by Western intelligence agencies. But still, it took many here by surprise.
It's a big threat for our lives, and I want to live, so I need to live.
Russian President Vladimir Putin described the invasion as a special military operation against the far-right Ukrainian government. The war began with Russian missiles raining down on targets across Ukraine as ground and air forces invaded from multiple directions. The sounds of war are getting closer, they're getting more audible, and it is absolutely certain that the Russians are making huge gains on their way to the Ukrainian capital. I don't know what to say. Across the world, people demonstrated against Russia's actions, but some of the most significant protests took place in Russia itself. Russian authorities reacted by brutally cracking down on any form of public dissent.
You can see people getting arrested just behind me. Activists have called a protest against the war in Ukraine. Yeah, I saw at least a dozen people in that police van. They're being taken away. Another woman now being arrested behind me.
Russian civilians, many worried about being drafted into the military, fled the country by the hundreds of thousands.
It feels like everyone who has any means to do so is fleeing Russia right now. And a new Iron Curtain is basically coming down.
Do you think you'll ever go back to Russia?
I left everything there.
Russia likely expected a swift victory, but the advance mostly faltered as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stepped into his mantle as a war leader. We spoke to him in Kyiv in the early days of the war.
Can you trust Putin?
Trust? Oh no, I trust only my family.
How can you make a deal with someone that you don't trust then?
We have to. How to stop this war? Only dialogue. And only dialogue with him. He is the president of Russia. And Russia fighting against Ukraine. They came to our land, to our houses, to our children. We didn't invite them, but they are here.
Хотів би зберегти наших героїчних військових, але ми будемо тримати оборону нашої землі скільки зможемо.
Приносить, гей, гоп, бій приносить, славу, волю, честь, слава Україні! Героям слава!
Despite the assault from one of the world's largest armies, Ukraine didn't collapse as many feared. But still, the war's impact on the country has been devastating, with entire cities and towns reduced to rubble.
I can't. I mean, I don't know, it is coming across on camera, but being here and seeing this destruction, it's absolutely, it's unbelievable, yeah. This is the actual reality of what Russia is doing here. These used to be really busy streets. It's Ukraine's second largest city, but a lot of the people have now left. The sentiment amongst people here is anger, frustration, sadness.
This building has been burned. You can hear the shelling in the background there. It's just unbelievable levels of destruction. What's also crazy is that most people who are left here are living underground in the bomb shelters, and some people just facing that impossible decision of whether to stay hunkered down underground or whether to leave their homes, leave their families, leave everything.
The conflict has created Europe's biggest refugee crisis since World War II, with more than 8 million Ukrainians internally displaced, and another 8 million fleeing the violence to other countries. So we're here at Kyiv's main railway station, and it is absolutely packed with thousands of people. Everyone's desperately trying to get on a train. They're trying to go to the west of Ukraine, away from the advancing Russian forces, or they're trying to get out of the country to Germany, to Poland, to Hungary, wherever a train will take them to get away from this war.
Here at the border crossing on the way, people trying to get into Poland. We're seeing
hundreds, maybe thousands of people trying to push their way in. It's pretty chaotic scene. You can hear people now chanting, and we're expecting on the other side now here for the cars to be a long, long line. Our driver was supposed to meet us just here, but he said he's 40 miles back and a long line, a queue of cars just trying to get to us. We're seeing so many different families, kids, all of them are here in the cold. There was only 3 or 4 passport control people processing all the claims, so people are really desperate. It's like 2:30 in the morning, and it's a really rough scene here.
Мама сказала, може не побачимося, це було дуже тяжко. Дуже сподіваюся, що все-таки Україна за допомогою інших країн переможе, тому що, як в добрих казках, добро завжди перемагає зло, тому...
Russia's advance on Kiev was repelled in the spring, and in other parts of the country its forces stalled, leading to many Ukrainians returning to their homes.
Here you can hear the alarm. I'm back to Kiev right now. Really a strange and weird feeling to see the city.
I'm in central Kyiv. It's been about 5 months since Russia's full-scale invasion, and while the Ukrainians managed to hold the line in the capital, a brutal war is still raging in the east and south. As much as people try and return to a normal life, there are signs of war everywhere.
But as Ukrainian forces regained territory, they also uncovered evidence of war crimes by Russian forces. Such abuses would be hard for ordinary people to hear about in Russia, where the media is dominated by pro-Putin voices.
Киев – русский город, и Путин никогда не даст приказ стрелять по Украине, потому что там тоже наши люди. И тоже ждут, когда придет Красная Армия.
Фейк, больше я ничего не скажу. Подстроили так, что как будто бы наши убили этих гражданское население.
Но то, что война, это чисто политическое. Но точно могу сказать, это не с Россией.
In late 2022, Ukrainian forces launched a successful counteroffensive that put Russia on the back foot. Putin responded by annexing 2 Ukrainian regions, threatening a potential nuclear response, and ordering a general mobilization.
These young men will replace some of the tens of thousands of soldiers already killed or injured in Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Я ощущаю чувство гордости за страну, за свою семью, то, что не отступила от этого долга, взял на себя такую обязанность защищать Родину.
Some people are still motivated by the lies President Vladimir Putin has told to justify this war, but others aren't happy about being forced to enlist, and the mood is sullen. Speaking critically of the war is a criminal offence, so it's hard to know how any of these conscripts truly feel.
Responding to battlefield defeats in the south and east, Russia's military returned to bombing Ukrainian cities from far away, and the war very much returned to Kyiv. Celebrations in the city of Kherson after Ukrainians retook the city from Russia in November have once again been replaced by fear, as renewed Russian strikes wreak havoc on the population.
It's been another night of bombardment in Kherson, and this is the latest location to have been hit. It's the mall in the center of Kherson. Emergency workers have been trying to put out the fire all night, and it just feels relentless. We were kept awake by the sounds of rockets and mortars and artillery. It's a year since the war began. It is not what anyone would have imagined liberation to look like.
So that's where things are at now. Here in Kyiv, the situation is a bit tense, but today the war is largely being fought in Ukraine's south and east. In recent weeks, Russian forces have made some gains as President Zelensky continues pleading Western governments for more and more weapons, as sadly this tragic and devastating war still looks very far from reaching its end.